Well, welcome back, folks. Again, don't hesitate to call. The phone lines are open. In the beginning of the session, I give you guys two great teasers. We have Mr. Henry Billingham visiting the territory. He's a very important guy to the territory. He's a minister for the BVI Overseas Office. It's important that you folks, weigh in on the discussion. This is an opportunity for us to let a voice be heard. I also talked a little bit about tourism. I know you guys want to talk about a lot of things, but it's important that we start focusing on things that are going to help move the country forward and find ways that we can help as a community. If you live in a country, even if you're not from here, you survive and expect the country to do well so you can do well. It's important that you proactively take a part in what's happening in the country. While we were on break, I had 5 texts that I want to read real quick. One, it talked about funds. I never knew this before, so I'm being educated tonight. Someone said that they asked what was the government doing with the funds it gets from the bank on bank accounts, individual bank accounts. I guess there's some funds that are being moved from those accounts into a government fund, and they want to know what is the government doing with those funds. That's a good question, so we can keep asking that question. The next one was casinos. This person is texting every week. Apparently they love casinos. I don't have a problem with casinos. I know if we're going to talk about expanding tourism, this is just me, you could prove me wrong. Asians in the Asian market, the Russians in the Eastern European market, they love gambling. If we're going to talk about putting in hotels to facilitate those folks, they're all about, casinos. Let's get, we just missed that call. Call me right back, folks. I missed that call. Just call right back. Another text is the UK. They said the UK government is doing so bad. How are they going to help us economically? Even if they don't help us with funds, there's other ways that the UK government can assist us. They can assist us with information, with marketing. Again, we are territory. We should be having more of a view in England. They should be bigging us up. Not just us, but the rest of the territory. So I think it's important. Let's get to the phone real quick.
Yeah, good evening. You've reached me.
Yes, good evening. Turn on your TV, please.
Hello, good night.
Yes, good night. It's myself and Mr. DeCastro. We're both on the stage. So
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'd like to ask the question that where the construction supposed to boost the economy in the BVI, and that's not happening. There are a lot of men out there who cannot get construction work, and the liability to that. You don't know if Neil don't sell, Paibo don't sell.
Carlo, one of the problems is that the banks are not lending any money. If the banks don't lend any money, people can't build their houses. If people can't build the houses, no materials are going to be purchased, and no contractors are going to hire any laborers or carpenters.
You understand with that, but listen to me, that's what boosts the country. The money is not circulating.
I'm hearing what you're saying. I've heard some members of the government saying the same thing, but until we were able to convince the people who are in the lending industry to free up some of the money, go after the people who have good credit and who can repay the loans, and lend them some money. If that doesn't happen, we're not going to get the construction industry going.
Yeah, because what happening in the BVI is going down. Trust me, the construction industry going down, and you have a lot of men out there who cannot work, who cannot pay the bills, who cannot even eat, and they're supposed to look into the construction industry. That when money circulates. If you cannot send out, that memo to the construction industry, our country going down all the time.
I think you're right.
If nobody cannot work, what's going to happen to those places that renting? Who will pay for the rent? People who got mortgage.
Yeah.
Construction in the whole, in the Caribbean, throughout the world. That's where the business go. Not only on tourism.
That's true.
Construction come from every aspect of everybody. That when they own, they spend back. Money circulate. And if it cannot happen in the BVI, going down all the time. Not only in the BVI, coming through the world. And I appreciate that if the BVI, I understand what's going on in the BVI, but then, not only where we going to get the money from, where we can circulate it. If men home and we cannot pay the rent, what we going to do? We got to leave the country and go home back? We will have to places then that people rent. What a bill. The bank will come bankrupt. Because the people who get the mortgage, they have to pay the bank. Pay the people who have to pay the mortgage.
Well, Carla, we know for sure that people here save their money, and there's a lot of money is here in the banks. They have to produce a financial statement every year, and we know that there's a lot of money in the banks, but they're not lending the banks. They're being very careful, and they're not taking any risk, and that is the problem that we have right now. They're here and they're guarding their interests tight. They're not taking any risk, and it's all money. It's the people's money.
Yeah.
It's the same. If everybody had to pull their money out of the bank, that would be another story. Okay? But once you have the people, once you're a member of this community and you have a lot of people's money holding for them, you should lend some and take a little risk. Be part of the same risk that all of us are going through.
Okay.
And I think that it will help our economy. Because
the economy going right down the drain right now.
Well, Carla, what you're saying, one of the ministers recognized that, in one of the last House sitting, I believe it was a budget debate itself. One of the ministers even highlight the fact that the banks are not taking any risks. So what Courtney's saying is absolutely true. The banks are right now scrutinizing, and as a matter of fact, it's harder now to just get something very simple in the banks, and I think the government needs to address a lot of these banks, because the banks, especially the U.S. banks I'm referring to, are now scrutinizing our process the same way they do in the U.S. And I think it's unfair to the people of this territory. Being an overseas territory, being a country that's not even part of the U.S., I mean, they're telling you now that you have to get, what do you call it, an income return, what do you call that, when you're a tax return form. For them to qualify you for a loan. It's utter nonsense. I mean, so I think that the politicians know exactly what you're saying. But I must say, you got to give credit then. You're supposed to be out there right now rallying behind the two initiatives that government has laid on the table, the cruise ship expansion. That's a huge undertaking right now when it relates to construction. And also the airport. If we can get that airport project going right now and the development and extension, I mean, you're talking about stimulating the economy, assuming the government is listening to what you're saying and is utilizing the manpower that's already here. No matter what it takes, no matter how the finance come, if we can utilize the manpower first that's in the territory, it's going to benefit the territory. So you're absolutely right. So keep that going, man. Keep calling and echoing that sentiment, because that's exactly what we want to hear.
That's true. Good night, and y'all take care.
All right, well, thanks for calling.
Thanks for calling.
So Courtney, real quick, two more texts that we had, before that call, we have one text I think that it's worth reading. It talks about healthcare in this country. It says, if the government workers are going off island for healthcare services, what does that say about the integrity of our health services? And do they trust the health services that we have in the territory? Okay. So that's important for us to really, really look at and consider. And that question is out there. The government officials are going off island. I mean, what does that say about the health system?
But one of the things about the last caller too that I probably wanted to mention too is that we have to be careful too that the banks don't start doing what we call predator lending. In other words, they look for people who can repay the loans and lend money to them, knowing fully well that it will be a foreclosure situation. Good evening. You've reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Good night. How are you doing?
We're doing fine. What about yourself?
I'm doing good. Sam,
Okay.
how you do?
I'm good, you know. Thanks for asking.
Turn it down, turn it down. I think that when they had postponed the meeting, they should have put it on the media and let everybody know that the meeting was postponed.
You're talking about the Craft Alive meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
You know, I called tonight because I had made this, I had a vision about this doll, and I get up and I knit this doll. It took me a week to knit it.
Okay.
And this doll, I made this basket because when I went to the thing, the agriculture thing, the little old man were teaching people how to do basket. So I get on my little straw and I make my basket. I cut out the welcome magazine, I put it on it. I get some shells and teeth and put it on it, and I put it in this doll I made hand, as if it's a service tree,
Okay.
representing the field of hospitality. And this tray say, "Welcome to the British Virgin Islands." And then it had a little note in it say, look at the back and discover nature's little secret. And as you raise the doll hand, you see to the back a map of Tatola, Virgin Gorda, Antigua, Jocelyn Bay. And I present that to the tourist boat Thursday. And not even one of them call and say, "Well, Lord, that was beautiful." You know, to boost you and make you feel good about what you do. No recognition, nothing.
Okay. I thought you were going to tell me how you were going to mass produce the doll and you were going to get 100 of them coming back.
Made in China.
That's what I thought you were going to tell me.
No. I made that doll. It took me a week to make that doll. It was a big doll,
Oh, okay.
you know, and she was holding a service tree, you know, and they need to start boosting people and making people feel good about what they're doing to motivate them to do more.
Okay.
But that's why I support what you're saying about the fact that the meeting was canceled, and it relates to Craft Alive. Craft Alive, from what I understand, was designed to promote local craft art and the local people. I mean, obviously we don't have more locals than folks who are not local, but nonetheless, people are here. They're part of the economy. They're part of the social environment in the BVI. But I thought personally, I support exactly what you're saying. I thought, you know, the government would have sent out a press release. If they did, I apologize. I didn't see it. When you called me and told me about the meeting being canceled, I made a call to the ministry myself. The ministry had me on hold. I called the Premier's office. The Premier's office put me on hold. They called the Ministry of Communication and Work, and they came back with the same answer. The meeting is postponed. There was no date given as to when it's going to come forward. I mean, I think it really let a lot of people down, because that's a very important thing. It built a lot of enthusiasm with the people who are looking forward to it. At least say something, because
and want to voice their own opinion.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel if you bring something from St. Martin or St. Thomas in this place, what called economic t-shirt wage, then buy bulk for less price. You put bought in St. Martin but sold in Tatola. But don't put Tatola BVI because it was not made here. When the people go to them same place, they're seeing the same thing.
Well, yeah, that is true. One of the things I want to ask you though is you at least took a picture of your doll?
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to see it on BI News. I did some homemade natural soaps too, like oatmeal and coffee, you know, things from the earth.
Yes.
Some soap like, and
That's
knack it then.
That's very good, but you need to keep like some of your work to promote yourself. That's why I was asking you if you took some pictures of the doll.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay.
But I mean, they should have boost, make people feel good about what they're doing to motivate them to do more.
Maybe that's still in the works, man. Let's keep hope alive.
Okay.
keep pushing.
Have a good night.
Keep pushing. Courtney, I want to elaborate again real quick and emphasize to the local folks. BV Islanders, in 1997, 98, 99, there was a white paper. The white paper, as a result of that, we got a UK passport. There was a lot of discussion about that. Folks, y'all are sitting around every day complaining about inequalities, things that are not fair, and every time we get an opportunity to react to something or be proactive with something, we're not doing it. Now, I put out a good teaser for you guys tonight. There's a gentleman in town. He's the overseas minister. And I want to hear from you tonight as to what we need to say to this gentleman. We're going to be in the press conference Monday. If you didn't know, there's a press conference on Monday. The media was invited. For some reason, the talk show host was invited. So this is an opportunity for us to carry a message, whatever that message is. We want positive messages to carry to those folks if we're given an opportunity to present those information. But folks, you all have to be more proactive. There was a series of workshop that relates to this white paper. The white paper had some very important questions, and folks are just sitting around and expect everybody else to react to those things for you. You gotta be a part of this discussion. So again, I put it out there. It's open. Call us, tell us what's going on, what you think we need to say, what you would like to say if you had an opportunity to say. Where would you like to see the BVI in relationship to the UK? Because it's important. Whatever happens at the end of this white paper will affect you and myself. So, I mean, this is an opportunity to be more proactive. So I'm putting it out there to you again. Call us and let us know.
Well, Sam, I'm glad you're raising that issue because I was appalled, and I'm still appalled at the way some people are being treated in the UK. And I think, with all fairness to the UK, as helpful as they would want to be to the territory, knowing our financial situation, our per capita income being so high, I think it's really a challenge for all people to ask the UK for something in a meaningful way, and also for us to require them to treat us in a certain manner, although we know that they would like us to behave as if we are a territory under our present condition. But I agree with you. We need to open up the dialogue with our fellow citizens, and we need to understand what we think our relationship should be, and we also need to tell the European government what our relationship could be. We shouldn't just be bystanders in the process. We should be participants in the process. As a matter of fact, we should be major participants in the process, because for the last, I'm afraid to say how many years, but I think I could easily say for more than 25 years, we have been financially independent. What I mean by that is we have been balancing our budget for more than 25 years in the last 25 years, at least that I could recall. I think it might be more than that. I need to check that myself so that when I speak about that next time, I know exactly how many years we've been balancing the budget. So when a country is financially able to balance their budget, it says something about them financially. However, we may have some faults in other areas. We need some more political development, definitely, and we need some more economic development. I think we also, when I say economic development, I'm speaking about the entire economical development, not just building things, but look at your economy, look at your import, look at your export, look at where your money is actually going and who is really profiting from from some of the activities that we're doing, that kind of thing. And I think to start the dialogue now is a good idea, to talk about it. When you talk about things, sometimes you inform yourself about other things. So it might be a good idea for us to start doing a little what I call soul searching, and come up with some positions on ourselves of where we plan to see ourselves. I like to use 2020 as a milestone or a goal post, so to speak. By 2020, where we expect to see the Virgin Islands? It's a good question. Throwing it out there, as Sam said earlier, the numbers out there. 300-1949 for calls and 300-1950 for text. Let us know what you think. Let us understand what we should be saying to Mr. Billingham, what we should tell him, what message we should send him back to number 10 Downing Street with.
Right, Courtney, we got a few more texts just came in. We got one text just came in and said that the hurricane season is upon us, and they want to know why the guts are not being cleaned and prepared in preparation for hurricane season. So I think that portfolio falls under the governor, don't it?
No, that falls under the
Disaster management?
No, that would fall under. Well, the government as a whole would have to look at it as something to do. I haven't had a chance to peruse the 2012 budget really good, but something like that would normally fall under the Ministry of Communication and Works and Public Works Department, where they would have a line item that would speak to that type of action that would be necessary. Back in the days, it used to cost less than $200,000 to clean all the guts in the territory, but I'm pretty sure it's probably a little bit more than that now. But it is definitely a proactive thing to do, rather than waiting until you have water come down and block up a gut that's already blocked or a drain that's already drained, is to go out there and clean all the guts and all the drains in preparation for the hurricane season. And now would be the best time to start planning for it and having it executed before the 1st of June. You know, the 1st of June is the official start of the hurricane season.
Another text wanted to know if there's a working union, functioning union in the territory. What type of union are you referring to? And I think there is some kind of association or union.
There's a functional union, and if you get in touch with Mr. Larry DeCastro, I'm sure he can help you out with that, because there is for quite a number of years there is a functioning union here in the territory.
This one say we need to go shopping for new banks. This, on the other hand, Town and Country Department needs to be more free up. They need to free up some more of these people's plan. I guess they're blaming Town and Country. We think Town and Country needs to be more proactive and quicker in responding. So that probably should answer the question that about construction.
Well, that's another aspect of it, but that needs to be addressed as well. It's a touchy issue in some parts, because well, number one, it has to do with overall development. When you start talking about Town and Country Planning Department, you're talking about overall development, because Town and Country Planning is responsible for hotels, bars, and nightclubs, residential, commercial, everything. So I think the column may be voicing a frustration at the length of time it takes the board that meets with about plans that meet once a month. Maybe they need to meet more often. Then, in some person's opinion, including my opinion, sometimes they're asking for things that are not necessarily in the interests of the developer or the person making the application. They're asking for things that can go on, that can happen at another stage in the process after the development has been approved. They're basically saying that, or they're operating as if they're one-stop operation, but they're not a one-stop operation. We would love a one-stop operation. If there was a one-stop operation in this country, once you get one approval, that would be it. That would be a final approval. We're lobbying for a one-stop operation, and maybe one of these days we'll get that one-stop operation. But as it is right now, that is not the case, and I agree with the person that's sending that text. We need to ensure that we have a good flow of development happening in the territory.
Something real important, Courtney, that we probably should let the viewers know. Folks, a press conference is going to be aired live on Z-Rod and ZBVI. I think ZBVI, sorry, not Z-Rod. And it's also going to be streaming live on jtvlive.net. So you can go to JTV if you're at home, if you're at the office, you don't have a TV in front of you. I'm not encouraging you to not be productive at work, but at the same time, this is a very important thing. Take 5 minutes. The press conference is going to be between 12:30 and 1:30, I believe. So as long as you log on by 12:30, you should be able to catch it, and it goes till whenever it finishes, hopefully 1:30, 2 o'clock. It's streaming live on the internet, over the internet, at jtvlive.net, so you have no excuse. If you can't stream it, you can listen to it at ZBVI. So I think that's important. And again, folks, we can't emphasize this anymore. How important this is. It's very important. This is the minister that's responsible for this territory. This is a minister and his people back in England that are taking the information that they get from us and go back and decide what kind of relationship we develop with the UK, how the BVI can benefit from the UK being its motherland and being its fatherland, whatever land it is. How can we tap into the resources there? How can, I mean, some of the things that's on there right now is about the Queen's 60th Jubilee.
Jubilee, yes.
I mean, that's important to them. Is it important to us? It probably should be. That's the Queen, and she's still reigning. So we should probably take note of that. But at the same time, after that's done, after we know the Queen is still in power and she's still in charge, where does the territory go from there? We still have to worry about how do we survive. We still got to worry about our security. We still got to worry about our environment. We still have to worry about our tourism. All of those things affect you and I. So why are we sitting around just waiting and waiting? What are we waiting for? We're waiting for something to happen and then we say, oh, look what they're doing to us. This is your opportunity. So why not take advantage of it? This is a start. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you on the phone. We're getting a lot of texts. We can talk, we can read the text. The texts are fine. I know some of you are saying for obvious reasons you can call. As long as you're not, you know, I guess politically trying to assassinate the government and you're a citizen of this country and you have a valid opinion, the Constitution protects you. So you don't have to sit around behind the TV anymore and say, you can't call because you're a civil servant. As long as you're not calling, and whether people recognize your voice or not, you could call and say what you have to say in a very proactive, constructive way that's not degraded and trying to, you know, point out people. If you got a problem with a department, say the department. Without saying the person's name, say the department, because it's a departmental thing. It's not an individual thing. So, I mean, we're waiting on you. I'm waiting. I want to hear phone calls tonight. I know some other calls that will say they're going to call about different things, but I'm not mentioning that. You want me to talk about it, you call and say what you want us to say.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sam, we're being asked to take a break for the sponsors that make the show possible. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back.